Greetings, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for another episode of Blaze of Glory. This one is aptly titled Glory to the Whole, I believe, thanks to Sam. That being said, as you can see, Cherry is not here, or she's very statuesque. One of the two. Guess you'll find out. And we're back for our second to last episode of this space shit show. It's like the opposite of a space opera, I think. But if you guys want to support the channel, please go check out our Patreon. If you want to join us on Discord for a chat about this shit show, do so on our Discord. And if you guys want to support this wonderful, amazing cast, you can do so by donating to that bar in the bottom right-hand corner, where once it fills, Johnny gets to do what the hell he wants to us, and also all that money goes to the cast, which is amazing. And thank you for that. That being said, Johnny, take us into a way. Take us into a way.
Into a way? Really? Are you drunk?
Take us away into space.
Can I say no?
Yeah.
Because we're not in space.
Right. Okay. Sure. All right. Previously on Blaze of Glory. Tension left the air as Nyx had just finished negotiating with the crew for her new position as the leader of the Maelstrom Pirates. She had witnessed the death of the pirate queen known as the Banshee and was sure that she had a new job for the crew. The only problem, to cement her position with the pirates, the crew would have to make their way through the pirates and escape the cove. Once out of the area, she'd contact them directly with an encoded message and present them with the next paying job. After much fanfare, a biohazard alert, and some crafty flying, the crew finds themselves safe on the other side of the Ashtari cloud. Clear of the pirates and birding towards the other side of the Rin system, the encoded message comes in, and it's simple. Head back to the Breck system and meet up with a contact on Shemaya. For Fitzy, this couldn't have worked out better. And worse. Fitzy had convinced the crew before returning to the cove that the next stop had to be Aketi. At that time, he had an internal dialogue with Friday and figured out that the best possible way to get Friday out of Fitzy's head was to return to Aketi. To best explain the situation that he was returning to and to help Sally test some new drugs, Fitzy agreed to take some truth serum and give us his backstory. In short, he was trained in the way in swords. He was captured by the Vineron. They melted his sword and put it in his body, and then he was taken by the Church of the Stellar Flame, and then he killed a whole bunch of them to escape. Now returning to Aketi, he finds half the planet black away stripped. Landing at the temple he was trained at, he finds it in just ruins and waste. Using the glorious sensors, the crew discovers an underground path to a room filled with tech. Once they find their way inside, they activate what looks to be a representation of Aketi. Half the planet sort of burned away with blazing sort of like points on the globe. The alerts start to go off, and they find themselves facing a massive amount of ships heading in their direction as we fade in with the crew looking at the sensors. All right, guys, what are you going to do?
I thought you said shitty flying, and then I was very offended by that.
It was some shitty flying because you keep using this whole thing called the Pilgrim's Path. I mean, yeah. Whoever watched that movie?
I fly well, though.
Let's be honest,
you fly casually.
I was about to say, I know how to fly casual.
I will guide us to the Pilgrim's Path.
I think I know how to fly best because I'm always high as a kite.
High?
That's the whole show. Good night, folks.
Wait a minute. Isn't that like defined as normal for Levi? So wouldn't you want to note the states of like getting low, or maybe even like higher?
Get high like
I did. Nanite drugs.
Nanite drugs. Okay, guys, what are you doing?
You said there was ships coming at us?
You saw blips on the radar. They are clearly being identified as ships moving in your general direction.
Does this ancient tech show us the make, model, and color of the? Can I get the VIN number of these ships?
You do not get the make, model, and number. In fact, it doesn't give you a lot of details because as you're trying to read this display, it seems like there is just this large sort of alert that has gone out, and you can see the pulsing of this Klaxian wave kind of a thing that you're actually hearing locally as it's kind of going out. And as it is, the more and more ships begin to appear, more and more blips essentially on this like globe map thing, begin to appear. And as they're moving forward, you're not getting anything but counts, like numbered counts.
So I know how I know how sci-fi works. Can I go like this and zoom in and see what the ship looks like?
Sure. Please do that. Please do that one more time.
I just do this. I do this.
All right. As you zoom in, you see five ships that are cruising in your general direction, and they look to be Vineyard.
I'm gonna say, Fitzy, what did you do? What did you do?
I did it again where I forget my accent. It's been weeks, guys. Give me a break.
It's only been 2 weeks.
That's true. I'll be honest. The reason why I said I'll say and then pause for a second was I was trying to get the accent in my head.
I don't fucking know. Professional? I hit the switch and it turned on. I have no idea what happened.
You brought us right into. What did you? What did?
You're having a stroke there, mate.
You're getting us killed. I didn't want to come here, and then now we're here.
I mean, at the end of the day, you did want to come here. I told you there was lots of possible weapons.
I did not want to come here. There was a deal made under duress. You said you were going to try to kill me. I didn't want to splatter your brains all over or get my heart ripped out.
To be fair,
that was two bad options.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, you might still die.
That doesn't help.
Oh. Well, I mean, if you look... Hold on. If you look here on the planetary map, I think that the red arrow, I think we're here. And all the other connecting lines, they lead to more temples? I don't rightly know.
Yeah, but think about this. Our ship's up there.
But to be fair, the spaceships haven't landed yet.
Well, yeah, but that's why. You know what? Here's what we'll do. Levi, let's leave, and we'll give them Fitzy.
What?
I don't think they're here for me.
Why not? It seems like they're here for you.
Did someone say my name?
No. I don't think they're here for... I don't think they'd send an entire fleet of Vigneron to fight me.
Well, they wouldn't send them for me. I've never met them.
I think it's correlation, not causality. I think they're just here at the same time we're here.
That seems increasingly unlikely.
Does it? Because it's been like several decades since I escaped from their ships, and they haven't found me yet.
Right, and then there's no ships here. It's totally abandoned. We get here, all of a sudden they're here. Coincidence?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
That's what I'm saying.
Hello? Well, Fitzy...
Levi,
what do you suggest?
I'm in the engine room.
We're in a temple.
Are we in the temple? I thought we were in
the temple.
The echo is a great effect.
We're underground in the temple.
The engine room of the temple.
That doesn't...
Wait, is the temple one big ship? Can we shoot down the other ships?
He's just lost, and he's just saying shit.
Do you want to roll something to see if you can figure out if the ship is actually a temple?
Yeah.
Temple is actually a ship, you mean?
Temple is actually a ship.
Look, if there's any, that seems like. Look, it's Earth technology. I've seen a sci-fi thing before, and there's sometimes ships that get like buried in the ground and become buildings.
Can I do a fortune roll?
To turn this place into a ship?
Is that what you're attempting to do?
Yes.
All right, sure. You know what? We're 2 episodes. I mean, this is the second. This is the penultimate. Sure, why not? Please.
All right. So I automatically get 1 dice, and then I understand Earth technology.
Okay.
I know ships. I would say that I would be able, with my tablet, be able to access any systems or anything like that. The downside, this is a temple, so it's probably not a ship. And that's all I can think of.
I think the temple that is not a ship should count for enough to subtract this down to your rolling 1 die. Like that counts a lot of times because temples and ships are different things.
All right, I got one question. Fitzy, are you helping him in any way, shape, or form?
Fuck no.
I'm by myself.
It's a temple. It's not a ship.
You know what? Fuck it. Just roll it. Just roll with your 3. God damn it.
Do it.
I hate this game.
It's not a ship.
Oh.
What did you roll?
1, 2, 4.
Da, da.
Da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
All
Is
right.
there at least a weapons defense system on it?
So here's what happens. Describe to me what you do, because all you really see in this room is you see that there is this sort of like dais of like this visual display, and it's like floating above. It's sort of like the planning room scene from Return of the Jedi, where they're all sort of sitting around and there's like that visual of the Death Star. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this thing looks like. That's the planet. Like on the display, there are definitely little bits of technology around. Please just because you got a partial success, you got a 4. Please describe to me what you do, and then I will tell you exactly like what the result of that is.
It's not the temple, it's a ship, it's the whole planet, it's Unicron.
Yes.
That also makes it a transformer. That means it's the ultimate power in the universe.
I don't want to start sliding things in its ports and be like, oh, thank you for turning me
Look,
on.
it could just actually be the Death Star, and it just like it has a giant laser, and then we can shoot down the other ships.
And a planet. Okay, well, this is what I do. So Levi's like going around because he's kind of high, and he's like, oh, I'm not on the ship anymore. But this looks very familiar. All right. And he starts like kind of going along the walls and yelling back periodically because they keep mentioning his name and he doesn't know why. And then he kind of finds like a port. And he's like, oh, what's this? And clicks into it and just starts. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Okay, so as you start doing that, Siri kind of comes up and just kind of starts like eyeing you, trying to figure out, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? Why? There's a broadcast signal. Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
What's wrong with
you?
And
then she shuts down.
Oh,
that's the consequence. The success is it's not a ship. It's not a planet robot. But there are automations that begin to rise out of the ground around the temple. And they begin to rise, and they're like maybe 20 feet tall. And there are 4 of them.
They pulverize our ship.
And as they do that, they reach their arms out sort of like to the side of themselves. And this shield begins to form all the way around with them, encompassing where the ship is and the area that you guys entered. As the first Venerons begin to arrive, seeing this, the Veneron begin to blast. They begin using, their cannons on their ships, their blaster cannons, and nothing penetrates it.
Johnny, we get it. Atlantis was a good Disney movie.
Hey, look, buddy, you really liked Treasure Planet. Don't get me started.
I liked Atlantis too. Treasure
Those
Planet
are
was
both good movies.
That was a dang-ass movie.
Great movies.
Vastly underrated. Both movies.
So when you actually like get a chance to kind of catch your breath as this is all going on, and you see the display as it's going on, you look on the sort of the world map. It kind of shrinks back down for a second, as you can see the blip sort of like strengthening into something solid. It's like a blue solid, and then it zooms back in again, and you're able to see that these 4 sort of like figures have their energy like broadcasting around the shield. And that's the first time that you notice something really interesting. They all look a lot like the blank face of Klaus, only 20 feet tall.
Oh no,
not good.
Oh, we just killed little baby Klaus.
Can't hear you, Mike.
The giant 20-foot statues look like Klaus.
The giant 20-foot statues look like Klaus.
Cool. Gross. That's all I had.
I did a thing.
What have you done?
I saved us.
Okay.
We're protected in a, I would like to say a Klaus bubble.
Why would you like to call it a Klaus bubble?
Because there's 4 giant Klauses outside.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
Well, they're busy. They're putting up like a bubble shield.
I understand the individual words you're saying, but I don't like them all strung together like that.
Well, the ship's fine. The ships that were coming to shoot us can't get in.
How do we get to the other temples?
Oh, are we going to other temples?
Well, you see, this one didn't quite work.
That was not part of the deal.
Well, there was also supposed to be a temple here. We just found a hole in the ground.
Well, that was the deal. That we bring you here. You can stay here.
Well, the deal was to lead you to Ur weapons, and we haven't found any of those that you can take on the ship, so it was a bunk trip for you.
Well, no, obviously something's working because there's a big bubble around us now.
Right.
There might be a secret Ur door.
You're the robot man. Is there like a shield limit, a level, a meter that says how much shield there is on the bubble?
I look at my tablet. Does it say?
How much what specifically?
How much shield percentage?
Johnny, you know how sci-fi works. What's the shield percentage at?
The shield percentage is at right now 98%.
Oh, we got days in here.
You only have 5 Veneron cruisers blasting at the shield right now. If you decide to pull back on the display, pull back on the display, you kind of like, you get an encompassing idea of what's coming at you. The count currently appears to be 50, and the number is growing that are headed to your location.
Look, they're just going to keep doing this until they get through, and then they're going to kill us. So we should leave.
Well, I don't know if you recall how space works, Switch. But if we leave in here, out of the temple, and get in the ship, and then take the ship out of the bubble, they're still out there. And there's 5 to 1, and then far more in space.
Yeah, but we have a much better chance of evading them in a ship that goes fast than on foot.
I do a lot of punching and not a lot of shooting, but I'm pretty sure they're locked onto our ship, and they can just shoot it.
Well, we could run away. We have a very fast ship, and if they get down here, they're gonna blow up the ship, and they're gonna come down and kill us.
Hold on. Let me try something. Can I see if there's any sort of other than defense and offense of this temple? Because there's obviously a shield and obviously there's power. Is there laser beams?
Okay. Yes. So one of the things that happened when you activated, when you jacked into this this data port that was available there, and there's information started to kind of coalesce. You got, essentially, because you've been working hard to really understand Ur technology, you've got sort of a translation program that's working really hard at bringing you up in different bits of information. And there looks to be what would be translated into essentially a series of choices. Right now, defense is active, right? From what you can tell, there are 3 other choices. One of them that appears to be coming up, that's beginning to be sort of like translated, is offense. But a third one is catching your eye, because what it is there's the second and third option appear to be tied together in some way, as if you can only activate one of them. And the third one, as it's kind of like beginning to decrypt, is not completely decrypted, but it looks like it's starting with a TR for the word that it's displaying. So, but it's still not completely sort of translated. And then the fourth one is still being worked on.
Okay. I'm gonna time it where when the ships come in and like attack, I'm going to and they're doing their little run. As soon as they like fly away, I start turning on. I'm like this button, and then push the offense button and see what happens.
Okay, so as you do that, the blaster fire is coming in. There's a moment where there's a break, as if there's like a new like set of coordination. The moment that you touch the offensive, the shield drops, and instead, the hands come together like this, and this like energy beam begins to focus from their hands and takes out one of the Veneron ships. And immediately, the hands begin to move to try to take out the other one, and they all begin to do evasive maneuvers. Another one is starting to take it out. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then the 5 giant floating faces that are stone above us, they fall down, and then the girl...
The second one kind of like shoots off. But it's at that time that the evasive maneuvers are happening that you see another group of about 4 Veneron ships that are coming in, and they're starting to fire their blasters.
I hit defense.
All right. Arms go back up. Defense happens. 2 Veneron ships are down. They're beginning to regroup and spread themselves out a little bit more, or more of a sort of a pattern that would prevent you from getting more than one at a time right now.
What does this temple look like?
As it becomes more and more active, as Levi begins doing more and more, you see more of the room sort of come alive, as if the technology here is starting to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a note that Siri is still out.
Mm-hmm. What about Monday?
Did Monday come with the 2 of you, or with the 3 or the 4 of you?
Monday was the other robot, so I don't know. That's up to
right. Monday was Dinklebot, but
yeah.
Like, did Monday come with you?
That's up to Levi. It was his robot.
Yeah. I thought we were putting Friday into Monday.
No, we're putting Friday into the temple.
I've completely lost track of the day.
So we have Friday is in my head. Monday is the one in Dinklebot, and then Tuesday is the bad one inside Siri.
Is the bad one inside of Siri that Levi was able to lock down.
God, keep it together, Sam.
I'm waiting for Wednesday and Thursday to show up. Honestly.
Well, Wednesday's busy with the Addams family, so we'll see what happens. You were saying the temple looks like it's lit. It's beginning to light up. What is it like? Are there like beams of light going places? Is this a Zelda temple? What are we picturing here? Johnny's frozen. Perfect timing. There he goes. He's back.
Perfect timing. Now tell me what you were saying before.
What does the temple look like? Like, what do we see here? We have the console with the giant globe on it. We have whatever the hell Levi is doot-doot-dooting.
Remember that this is not the temple that you remember.
This is a weird
room
underground
that you never. Right. So this is just a larger sort of room. Mm-hmm. I believe I described it as 10 by 10.
Okay.
So the dais in the center is like this big display, and where Levi found that the data display is close to the entrance, the rest of the room is sort of waking up, and there are glyphs like appearing all over the place, and there are various lights. Along that, you see certain bits like pulsing and moving in different directions, and one of them looks to be sort of like a 3 concentric circles, sort of broken, like in a north-south kind of a fashion, mm-hmm. And it's this sort of like concentric circles, raised part, like almost platform, and it appears to be like off in like the farthest corner from the door. But the circles are beginning to sort of come alive.
Okay, I would like to walk over to those circles and see what that's about. Right, all the lights are kind of moving towards that direction, right? Like you said, they were moving lights. Yeah.
So, as Fitzy begins to make a move that direction, Levi, what you notice is that the third option begins to flash, and it's not completely translated yet.
Any more letters?
You see an ST at the end. Sorry, an RT at the end.
RT, how many letters?
You can't quite tell because there isn't a 1-to-1 ratio between and the common.
It's fart.
Well, the beginning is TR and the last are RT.
treaters. As it's like kind of decrypting a little bit more, I'm kind of like messing with Siri a little bit, and seeing if she can become functional again.
All right, I needed some sort of a roll for that because she is completely knocked out. I also need to know if Monday is in the room with you.
No.
Okay.
Rig. Controlled.
This is you're not in out and out desperation,
okay.
but there's definitely some risk going on here because you don't know what's going on. You're also in a combat situation and safe for the moment.
Okay, standard. Bonus dice, no bonus dice.
Limited. Do you wanna push yourself or take a devil's bargain?
No.
All right, then roll it.
Roll it. 5 and a 1.
How do you attempt to use rigging to engage with her? Like, what are you doing? Are you physically picking her up, pulling the batteries and slapping them back in kind of thing? Or is this more like you're also hooking her up to your terminal?
I'm currently, what I'm doing is like pop a panel and like you see me like on my knee have like the tablet up and I'm kind of like typing and I have a screwdriver in, and as it's like doing also I'm like shocking and like in the orb and like looking around to see what's going on and kind of doing a diagnostics on her.
Okay, so as you begin to do that, you run through a series of physical diagnostics that you've done before, and after a certain point, you realize that her core memory is corrupted, and that she's going to require essentially a defragging, the equivalent of defragging the hard drive, in order to find herself back up. And when you look at what essentially ends up being like the error logs of the system, what you find is that she received a corrupt signal that told her to reset to default.
So has she reset the default or no?
No, she has not reset the default. Her core memory is corrupted. And as you're kind of digging through, you realize that she shut herself down in order to prevent it wiping her memory completely.
Okay. Can I figure out the frequency of that signal?
You sure can. Let me ask what the other guys are doing real quick.
Okay.
All right. Fitzy, you were standing on that dais. Switch. Sally's just kind of like a little, nervous and off, trying in a corner. What are you doing?
Do I see anything that I think I could use?
What do you mean use?
In any way, shape, or form.
I mean, he was led down here on the pretenses that there would be weapons, and there hasn't
and like
been yet.
stuff. Yeah.
Give me some sort of something that equates to a search or maybe a knowledge roll of some kind to see if you recognize anything.
Study?
Sure.
Well,
this is also going.
There is giant man-pedos outside that you could probably just strap to the ship and take with you.
Well, like, we got to get out of here first, so we got to kill these. I mean, I have a feeling that some of these pirates are going to get through our weird
These
human
are pirates. Do you know who the Veneron are?
They're all the same thing. They're pirates. They're pirates. They're pirates.
They're like Warhammer 40k orcs meets the Borg.
Yeah, they're pirates.
I was going to say that they're like the Inquisitors from 40k, but that same difference.
That sounds. Everything you're describing sounds to me like pirates.
They steal things and attach them to themselves.
Pirates.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna, I'm looking for stuff. What's the position here?
Position is, in your case, it's still going to be risky because there's still a little bit of activity going on. There's a lot of chaos going on. Effect, I think, is, unless you can argue for me how you would be, it would be have a much larger impact. I think it's going to be limited.
Okay.
Push yourself or take a devil's bargain?
What's the devil's bargain?
You're going to have to make a choice between the money and the glory.
You mean like the ship or the
You're going to have to make a choice between the money and the glory.
No deal.
Are you sure I didn't mean fame?
Either way, no deal.
It's money or nothing. I mean,
it's both or nothing.
Oh god.
All right, roll it.
I already did. I got 3. Yeah, I got 3.
You got a 3.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not a good roll.
No, it's really not a good roll, because as you're kind of like, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell me how Switch is not doing very well at this, and then I will tell you what the result is.
I mean, I guess he's just like kind of like aimlessly walking around, like trying to like pull shit out that looks interesting, and then like when he can't get it to like do anything, he just like throws it.
All right. So before I describe this, I just need to know, Fitzy, are you still just sort of examining that dais?
Yeah, I mean, I just walked over to it. I haven't done anything on it yet, but yeah.
All right. So the first concentric circle is fully lit, and the second one looks like it's almost lit. And the third one is starting to looks like it's getting full power. For Levi, you notice another thing, that the A has appeared for TRA, and then there is an ORT at the end of the third word, and the fourth word. The fourth choice has become available to you. It's a P. It's starting to reveal itself. There's a P at the beginning of it.
The Popeye.
All right. What? Exactly. So you start pulling up and pushing on different things. Switch. The first thing that you do is you hit a panel and it pops open. And Fitzy, across the room, you hear what sounds like something very familiar. A couple of swords fall out of a panel, essentially what looked like a locker, but they look like they were stored there. And you can see that there is some blood staining each of those swords.
Okay.
And on the inside, you see that there's like a handprint of somebody who's got blood there. For Switch, as you're kind of looking at this, you're kind of assessing the situation and not able to kind of assess that anything is really valuable to you. But as you open the second one, out pops a series of balls, like cylinders rolling across the floor. And they all slowly, as they're kind of rolling through the room, begin to light up a little bit. And they're starting to pulse.
Oh boy. Oh no. We gotta, I start running away.
Oi! What are you doing?
Those swords are mine, by the way. I'm running.
If they're not yours, if you're running away, what did you do?
I'm gonna try to get behind something and away from these bombs.
What are you doing touching everything?
Those swords, they count as mine.
The pulsing begins to get brighter and brighter. Fitzy, the second concentric circle lights up as the third one is almost completely energized.
Where are the swords from me?
They are across the room,
okay.
And across the room is all these little like cylinder balls, just all over the place. And Levi, Levi's leaving. What Levi would have seen is that the third word that's appeared on his screen, but I'll describe that when he gets back. So, anyways, it does say transport. You figured it out. Good job.
I know how letters work.
So the pulsing is happening from the concentric balls, and the next thing you see is they all begin to slowly rise.
I too play Overwatch.
Do you? Do you?
Yeah. Hamtaro coming at you. I'm standing in the center of these concentric circles, not the exploding circles. Just so we're clear.
I didn't say they were exploding yet.
I mean,
Soon, though.
I mean, what are they gonna do?
The pulse.
You got.
So the pulsating is happening. As they begin to kind of rise, the word appears on Levi's display. The third option, it says transport. And it's flashing as it says transport. As the fourth one reveals its second letter, which is a P-U. So the fourth word starts with a P-U.
Can I guess how many letters now since I've seen
Punk rock.
Five. Stands for punk rock, that's right.
It's the punk rock button.
Stands for Punks Atani. The first ring has lit up, the second ring has lit up, and the third one is like flickering.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is just like a raised dais of stairs, basically. That are circular.
No, they're not concentric. They're not raised. It's one dais.
Okay.
And it's like a flat area, and the third circle is about to act. He's about to get fully
Are there
charged.
markings on this? Are there like symbols or things?
No.
Cool. I'm going to stand in the center of it, and I'm going to attune to the way and see if I feel any different about life. Cool. I'm going to attune with my attune points. Attune. I am going to use my precursor. I guess it's not a fine precursor artifact, so it wouldn't give me a +1. And that's it. I'm going to use two points of attune and see what happens here.
Do you want to push yourself and take a devil's bargain?
You know what? I'll push myself. Why not?
Okay, so this is going to be risky, and the effect is going to be standard.
Cool.
Johnny, was the
Yes,
word
sir.
pubes?
No, the word is not pubes.
Is it purge?
No.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't know because you can't read her, right? 6 on attune. I'm attuned. What do I tune into?
All right. Here's what you begin to see. A switch is hiding behind something, waiting for these things as they're rising up. You see that they're fully energized and that the lights are about to come on. As you do, you can see that there are thin sort of wispy connections of blue light emanating between each of them as points, almost as if it's like a
neural net,
or a web, right? And as you're kind of looking around, the third circle sort of energizes and becomes complete. And at that, 3 paths become available to you in front of you, and they look like you have to walk in different directions. In each direction, you see different things. Along the first path, you see what you can only assume are Vinron disassembling whatever it is that you're seeing on that other side. And they're just kind of like, they're operating and working, but they don't actually see you. The second one appears to lead you to what looks to be like an outdoor setting of some kind. But you can see a sort of a very similar dais surrounded by jungle, but it's out in the open. It's not, underground. And the third one appears to be inside of what you would take to look like another temple that you trained at, like another temple that looks like the one you trained at.
Is there a teleportation pad at that one too?
Yes. Everything you're seeing is that you're seeing a place where you can step to. Okay.
Also, how close to the assuming exploding balls is Levi?
Levi's right in the middle of it. He's just focused on what he's doing. He hasn't really reacted to these balls that are kind of floating around him.
Yeah, I'm standing on this, what I now assume to be some kind of wave-based teleportation circle, and I look over and say, Levi,
yes,
you're in the center of a minefield.
How do you know it's minefield?
I mean, they're floating and glowing, and they're all attached, and they only triggered once Switch did something, and he ran away. And he usually runs away when there's danger, or yells at me to punch it, or you to shoot it, or Sally to shoot it, or...
I pay attention to one of the orbs real quick, and look, and they're like, do they look like Siri?
They look like rudimentary forms of Siri. They look like baser, sort of like less technical forms, but yes.
I think they're just drones.
They're interconnected. And
Okay.
they're pulsating with way energy.
So I can hack them.
I don't know, and I don't know that they're still not going to explode.
Hack it.
They're probably going to explode.
They might explode in the same way that I did the punch thing and everything around me exploded.
Can I do a hack to find out what they are?
You are more than welcome to.
Okay.
Oh, also, this is a teleportation thing.
Oh, no, I already do that. We can transport. Also, I think this next one says pubes.
I don't think that's what it says.
Well, how do you know? Can you read her?
I mean, probably better than you can. I studied it for a decade or so.
Johnny, you're going to get mad.
I'm always going to get mad, but I'm also going to say, while the two of you are having this conversation, you're a little bit distracted. Well, you're a little bit distracted. As Switch is the only one paying attention to the room and watching these various, little drones that are kind of floating there, the display that represents the planet begins to flash at the location where you guys are and zooms in again. And for the first time, you see something new. You see what looks to be a flat sort of like area map representing what is outside, including at the center, what looks like the downward stairs and the glory. Farther out, you see that there is one Veneron ship that has landed, and there is a group moving in that direction of about 10 individuals of various types of xenology.
Dope.
They are all enhanced in some way, shape, or form by like some sort of like tech, some sort of cyber. Like different ones have different things grafted to them, and they appear to be moving in a sort of like combat, sort of squad fashion in your direction.
And only Switch sees that?
Only Switch is paying attention while two of you are like arguing about transports and stuff.
Well, my hack, I got, now get ready, Johnny, 2 6s and a 4.
Did you actually ask me for position and effect?
No, because I figure I'll just roll it and then we can figure that out later. Because it doesn't matter during the roll.
Okay, fair enough. 1 second and we're going to deal with that resolution of that. Switch, you have an opportunity to kind of react. What are you going to do?
I will. How far away are they first?
They appear to be just outside. They appear to have landed in such a way that they're just outside of what was perceived as the target range for the last attack from the automations. And then as it landed and they're kind of moving forward, they're about halfway between that and what appears to be the sort of like the barrier that these 4 automations are creating. So they're probably a minute out from the barrier itself. They're moving fast.
So I'll be like, yeah, I was right. They landed. They're coming now.
Well, the shield's still up, so they can go fuck themselves.
Well, I don't know if the shield holds from people.
Well, it looks like an energy shield, so I don't want to touch it.
Well, I guess we're going to find out. I'll let you know what happens when they get there.
Did I mention that this is a transportation ring? There's
Yes,
other
you mentioned
places
it.
We can go.
Oh,
Well,
all
you're
right.
going to leave the ship behind, though.
Yeah, the ship's expensive.
I put a lot of work in that ship. I don't want to leave the ship behind.
I understand, but there's nothing here. We have to go
Okay.
somewhere else.
All right, well then, where are we going?
Well, I have 3 options. One appears to be a Vigneron outpost. One is the middle of a jungle.
I don't want to go there.
I didn't think so. One's the middle of a jungle, and one is another temple like this one, but different somehow.
The jungle.
I don't know. The jungle sounds buggy.
It's also just out in the open of a field in the jungle.
I think I'd prefer the temple.
The temple?
I think that
I thought the same.
Another temple.
Levi, what are you doing? Pick up your robot. We gotta go.
I'm working on her right now as I'm doing this over here.
And at that moment, the hack goes through on the drones.
And they all explode.
Now, let's talk about position and effect real quick, because we didn't do that. All right, so the position was definitely risky I can see your argument for desperate. What do you think?
I'm going to say risky. He is also doing something at the same time, but yeah, I'm not. It's not desperate yet. I don't find it being desperate.
I feel like it could be desperate, right? Because like, so your knowledge of Earth technology is based on today, which is like robots are a remnant of Earth technology. This is like straight up precursor tech. So like, you have no idea what could happen if you hack it. It could like it could reverse hack your brain, for all you know. I mean, that's how I control the way with my brain.
Yeah, but Levi's not worried about it.
Right, but it's still, I think it's a desperate action to attempt to hack a completely foreign object, possibly.
That's all Levi does, though.
I mean,
I could go either way. Doesn't matter.
That's true.
All right, I'm gonna go with risky on this particular one because I think the argument is fair. And Levi has this devil may care attitude about the whole thing. Effect, I think it's standard bordering on great. And the reason I say it's bordering on great is because you don't know what these drones are potentially could do, and that actually may be a good thing, right? You could potentially just have yourself a little mini army right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are the conversations, these are sort of the decisions that would have happened before. The fact that you crit, yes, you have a little bit of an army there with these drones. There's about 50 of them that are floating around the room right now. And as Levi begins to take them over, Bitsy, as you're kind of looking around these three paths, all of a sudden the sort of the way that these things are like connected changes, and it's sort of like becomes, instead of it being just like a straight blue line, there's like this like interference, and now it looks like crackling energy, sort of like lightning, sort of like passing back and forth between them, as if their core functionality has changed. And once that sort of like happens, and then it just like solidifies again. It's now more sort of like every one of them is directed towards Levi. All the like the connections are directed towards Levi's sort of like displayer, his little pad, his data pad.
So I don't know what you did, but they seem to be all focusing on you.
Hello, troops. How are you doing today? Yeah. All right. What are your capabilities? I'm going to start going through and getting kind of what basic specs of them are.
All right. As you begin to do a rundown of their specs, as you're kind of like looking at your display, Bitsy, that third circle is like beginning to start to burn really bright, as if there's something wrong. And the vision of the three paths are starting to get really, really clear. This kind of like makes you feel uncomfortable. As Switch notices that the squad is making their way right to the front of the energy shield, and one of them appears to be pulling something out of his pocket and like holding it up to the energy shield, and there appears to be some sort of energy transference going on.
Team, I said this was a transportation thing. I don't think it's optional.
All right.
No, I think it's gonna go with or without us, and I think we need to be on it, like...
Yeah, I'm, like, running towards it.
Real soon, Levi.
I'll book it.
So what's the basic specs of these drones, real quick?
Attack, defense, or purge.
Okay. I'm going to set them for a delayed timer to purge anything that comes into this room.
I'm sorry, that was attack, defense, or pubes.
Oh, pubes, I'm sorry. They're going to pubes in this room.
Can you describe to me how pubes is a verb? And I will understand it.
Show me how you pubes.
Show me how you pubes. I mean, like, what you do is you go pubes, and then...
Fucking dumb.
I'm an adult.
I'm sure you are.
I didn't giggle.
All right. How long of a delay?
How long? Probably about a minute.
Okay. They accept their programming and their timing. As that is happening, Switch, what you see on the display is the energy transference between the person, the one like Veneron who's like interacting with the actual shield. There's a final like sort of twist of emotion of the hand, and a portal between through the shield actually opens up, and this Xeno places this device on the ground, and it's holding the portal open as they begin to move in. 5 of them are splitting off towards the glory. The other 5 of them are splitting off towards the tunnel that you guys are all in.
Can I put? Is the glory's on the lockdown, right?
I don't know. Is the glory down on a lockdown?
Yeah, we left the ship. Levi, that's Levi's baby. So I mean, literally, he would have locked down the ship.
Okay.
I can rig it. I can roll a rig roll how well it's locked.
No, I honestly think that you would have done this beforehand. Describe to me what it means for lockdown.
So all the hatches are locked up. The blast shields are down on the windows, as well as the any security, not like wireless or encryption, is set up by Levi to prevent anyone from hacking into it. And if anyone does hack into it, the software gets fried.
Automatically? Or is it something like where it's a last barrier of defense and then it's...
Yeah, once the last encryption goes down, the software gets fried and erases the hard drives. Okay.
All right. So the timer's counting down. You have 45 seconds left on the purge. You're beginning to hear some buzzing from under your feet, Fitzy. Like the thing is really beginning to get loud. Switch, what are you doing in this situation?
I'm going for the transport pad.
Okay.
Do you grab the swords on the way by?
Yeah.
Are they because they're your swords or because they're interesting art items?
I'm going to sell them.
Okay.
I was promised weapons, valuable weapons that will fetch high prices on the open market.
He was
promised. I agree with that. All right. So it sounds like Switch and now Fitzy are kind of waiting on the pad. Fitzy, as you kind of get over there and begin to step on, your skin begins to feel like it's buzzing from like static electricity.
Sweet.
Like,
Levi, time to go.
Yes.
We have to go now.
Why do it? Okay. And I hit the transport button.
I don't think that does what you think it does.
Just out of curiosity, Levi, where were you when you hit the button?
I was standing with them in the circle.
Okay, just to make sure, because you were someplace else in the room. I'm going to allow it.
Oh, like so basically, as soon as like I set the timer, I like unhooked from the terminal, and then I have Siri. Like I picked up Siri and I was like, "Look at this one!" And I'm standing in the circle and I push a button.
All right. For Levi and Switch, what happens is very simple. The buzzing gets ever increasing for just a second. Levi, as you touch the third option, it's as if this like burst of energy just kind of like dances over your skin for just a second, and you find yourself in a completely different place. For Fitzy, it's a very different experience. Because of the way that you were interacting with, quote unquote, the way, you actually felt it ask you which direction you wanted to go, and you answered. And this was almost in the slightest moment, like it was microseconds going on. This interaction, it was at the speed of like thought. And as you engaged with this, you felt yourself pulled towards the temple as if you were walking there. Oh, cool. And your physical form felt like it was taking steps from one place to another. Travel was instantaneous, but the experience for you was as if you walked a long journey. And so as you sort of come out of this, the three of you are now standing in the middle of a temple, as Fitzy had described, where he had done his training. This is an exact sort of like replica of that, only in a different part of the planet. It is not the exact same temple. But as the three of you come out of there, as the four of you, excuse me, sort of come out of this, Siri sort of sparks up and sparks back to life.
Oh, I fixed you.
And she's just sort of hovering there. As you can see that her core sort of like firmware has restarted, and now the core memory is dumping back into her like active ability to sort of like interact. So she's slowly beginning to update. But at that time, all she's doing is sort of floating next to you. She's just kind of like hovering.
I think she's high.
It just says Windows recovery tool. So once we're in this like full-on temple, I assume it looks like just an aged version of like the temple I trained in.
It is an aged version. There is a dais right in front of you.
Yep.
Where you're standing is actually in the center of this sort of temple. There's a dais in front of you. There's the transport pad that you are currently standing on. The dais in front of you has the display of the sort of the planet on it, and it recognizes it's indicating that where you travel from to where you travel to. There's a line being drawn, and it's flashing in a way that indicates your travel, and so it's telling you where you've landed and where.
Yeah. Indiana Jones travel montage.
Right, exactly. And so as it flashes back to your point of origin, it begins to kind of flatten out and give you a display of what's actually going on there. You see 5 of them beginning to go down the steps into the sort of the underground proper part, as the other 5 are beginning to work on the door for the docking sort of like door for the Glory.
Okay.
One of the things that you note about this place is it's incredibly overgrown, as if nobody has been here for a generation or two.
Okay. Fantastic. I step off this platform. Am I still attuned to the way? Okay. So I step up this platform and I like move towards. You said there was a raised dais in front of us. I move over towards that platform and then I kind of like look at it, but like I'm internalizing and I say, "Okay, Friday, out you go. I got you to the temple. And now what? You got to walk me through this." And I'm just sort of talking. I guess I'm talking out loud.
And so at that moment, you hear a cacophony of voices, and it is incredibly loud as you realize that the way that they have multiplied inside of your head has just sort of consumed or taken over certain parts of sort of like your physical being, and it's just loud, and you're like, you drop to your knees. But you hear the words, "Okay, we got this." And then they all appear in front of you on the dais, on the display.
And I look back at Switch and I just flip him off.
For Switch, who's holding a bunch of swords, after he's come out of the transport, he's kind of looking forward. And what you see is the room is sort of filled with duplicate versions of this same like individual who looks like an old fat friar, like a monk, like in his 40s, just kind of like, just jolly, but whatever. And they're all kind of looking around and they're all acting independently. And as they're doing this, Fitzy, your head really begins to hurt really, really bad. And Friday, kind of all like snaps back and looks at you. And one loud cacophonous sort of thing that hurts even Levi and Switch's sort of ears a little bit. Say, "We're going to need you to activate the temple."
Activate what? I don't know what that means.
They look to Levi and they say, "You're going to need to activate the temple."
Stop talking about it once.
Okay.
And yet you don't know how to activate the temple.
Womp womp.
I don't listen to instructions.
Do I see any more goodies?
Is there another port?
Do you just begin like exploring the temple while the rest of them are doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can't use me for way computer bullshit.
Not necessarily, but I'm really glad that you decided to do that, because you begin to kind of like looking around and you see that there's a couple of pathways that are off. And one of them, you hear some noises sort of down one of the paths and you smell like overgrown, sort of like fresh sort of vegetation.
Gentlemen and lady, I do not think we are alone in this temple.
Yeah, there's about 72 different space ghosts just teleported all out of my brain.
No.
Also,
Like,
the Vigneron have taken over the entire planet.
I think this is like a nest.
Like a nest of what?
Oh,
You
well.
hear some scraping.
It sounds like we're going to find out pretty soon.
Okay, well, I don't think I can fight them. I think I need you to just like do what, like a defensive perimeter or whatever.
I hired you to do this.
I have 72 space ghosts popping out of my ass.
I'm running back to the group.
Okay. You continue to slowly hear the scratches as the rest of the sort of the Fridays are all kind of like looking around, just kind of like, and the one sort of like that stepped up as the leader is looking off at Levi, who appears to be doing absolutely nothing because he's kind of vanished off screen.
Okay,
so
I don't know that I can do both of these things at once, which is live and also protect your ass. Give me those
learn
two.
how to multitask.
Okay, give me the 2 swords. You can have them back when I'm done with them.
I will give him the 2 of my many swords.
Point your gun that way, I guess, towards the hole.
as you grab the 2 swords, there is like an energy transfer, like the way, like shocks you for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Like in sort of like this, like you're having this complete flash, and here's what you get.
Cool.
One of these swords happens to have belonged to the master with which you had trained.
Oh, neat.
And what you get is a vision of him running down and locking sort of the control panel for the underground area inside of like the underground part of the temple.
Yeah.
Right. And you see him shove the swords into into the sort of the panel as he kind of closed that and activates the 3 concentric circles of the dais. But as he does that, he also activates something on the sort of like the display dais in front of you. It looks like the exact same thing, but he has to actually reach in and press something sort of like inside of where the display sort of like light comes out of this thing. And as he does, the vision sort of vanishes.
You're saying inside like the computer globe.
Like you got to reach into like where the light is like sort of emanating from.
Cool. So yeah, I just sort of like put 2 swords in one hand and I quickly go over there, reach in, pull whatever that thing is, and I don't even like look to see what happens. I pull it, I switch the swords, and I move like towards the door where the scratch noise is coming from. Like I do that as quickly as possible.
All right. So as you do that, you kind of pull back. You pull back on something, and what you do is you pull back a physical lever. And as that does, like the energy from whatever power sources is sort of emanating at the core of this temple begins to activate all of the technology all around you.
You know, fair warning, I don't know what that did, so hold on to your ass. And I grab the 2 swords and I start running towards that door.
All around you, like with the light, the way that it's emanating, you see that the Fridays are beginning to consolidate. And they're beginning to kind of form into one. And as that is happening, the headache inside of your head is just beginning to reduce enough that you're able to actually feel physically okay. Ooh. And as that is happening, you begin to hear scraping sort of happening coming down the tunnel. And as the scraping gets closer and closer, you see what appears to be some sort of a leg of some kind, and it comes out, and it's got this razor sharp sort of end to it. As you know, like the do you remember from Starship Troopers the sort of the bugs, and the way that their claws sort of come out?
Yeah,
a claw comes out like on one side, and then you see another one sort of come out, and it's pulling itself through. And what you see instead is the most grotesque looking praying mantis sort of thing, as it kind of pulls its way through this tunnel and then kind of rises up, and it stands about 15 feet tall above you inside of the temple.
Yuck. How many legs does it have on the ground?
It has 4 legs on the ground, and it's got its 2 sort of pincer legs, or like appendages that are just kind of like coming out.
Cool.
And it roars as you hear more and more scraping sort of in the backside, as ones that are about 3 feet tall kind of scurry around behind it.
Can I attack this brood mother?
Oh, you sure can, because there's 6 of these little things that are just sort of coming out after it.
Cool. I want to attack the big one. I am going to do all of my abilities at once, because why not?
That sounds like madness.
So I have my newest ability called Kinetics. You push yourself to do one of the following things. Throw a table-sized object with dangerous force, or propel yourself briefly with superhuman speed. So I believe that says I can push myself, so I'm going to push myself to do that. And I'm going to focus my way energy into these blades that are now in my hand. And I am basically going to go from this defensive stance that I was in and just rocket forward and swipe at the leg to try to sever it. And here's an attack for you.
Are you sweeping the knee?
I'm sweeping the leg, Johnny.
All right. So, quick question, and then let's talk about position and effect.
Yeah.
What does it look like when the way is activated through these swords? Because you've described what it looks like when this technology activates inside of your body. And these swords are based on the same metal.
Yeah.
That was your sword. Yeah. So talk to us about what happens when you've got one of these swords in your hand, if not two.
Yeah, I think it works more or less the same, right? So not to be confused with a lightsaber or un lightsaber. His eyes kind of have that purple glow, and you can see those same kind of like circuitry wiring sort of going through the artifact in his head. And when his hands light up, like flames, it kind of looks like it continues up the sword, and it goes from like the top of the sword down to like his wrists essentially are glowing this like fiery looking purple kind of dazzly light.
Okay. Now let's talk about position and effects.
Okay.
This seems bordering on desperate.
Okay.
You're clearly facing something gigantic.
Yeah.
And that could easily defeat you in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah. I feel like
Can I help by shooting at it?
Do you want to shoot at it or the 6 little tiny ones that are beginning to scurry around?
I guess I'll wait and shoot the other ones.
You don't have to. You're more than welcome to assist and then do something else. It's just if there's a consequence, you might be the result of.
I will assist for one stress.
Okay. So
how are you helping him in this situation?
I have 2 guns. I'm shooting wildly. I'm shooting many times at these things.
He's doing the Star-Lord thing. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it was desperate, and the effect is.
I have to say great, because I can't think that there's any result that thinks that this would be minimal.
Yeah.
If not, it's normal. This has to be great or even bordering on extreme.
I like it. So I have 1 bonus dice for my fine melee weapons, and I have 1 bonus dice for Switch's assistance, and we have 3 gambits. So I'm gonna spend a gambit.
Okay.
I gotta sweep these legs and make this thing not be standing anymore. So I'm going to attack here. And holy shit! And I rolled a 6. I rolled every other number also, but I rolled a 6, which is the important one. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so you move in with almost superhuman speed. You come in and you swipe at the leg. Describe to me what happens as the 2 blades sort of come across and take this thing. Is this 1 leg, or are you trying to get multiple legs in this? I
feel like with just a 6, I only get 1 leg. But yeah, this goes from Star Wars to anime real quick. And you see him just, and you hear that kind of noise as these flames coalesce on the blades. And then he leans forward, and you just see that that dust cloud as he just explodes forward, and in the flight he just kind of combines with both hands and just swipes and takes one of the front leg out at the knee. The downside being he's now kind of underneath this creature as it begins to topple forward and collapse on its missing leg.
Okay, so as you take out the 1 leg, you hear a scream, you smell the sort of burning flesh element of this. You can see that it's trying to rear up and kind of defend itself, but as it comes down, it just begins to kind of lean off to the side, and it's using one of its it's like appendages to kind of help balance itself as it's pushing itself back. But as it's doing that, these 6 little things scurry forward and immediately make an attack for you.
Cool.
I need a resistance roll.
Okay. I believe that it's going to be a prowess roll. Do I have anything that is defensible? I don't. Okay, cool. So prowess roll. Boom. What is the... no bonus dice, right? Yeah, cool. No bonus dice.
No bonus dice.
Whoo, boy. 6.
So you don't take any stress out of this situation, and you're completely able to sort of dodge what's happening. But these things are all kind of like scurrying all over you, and you describe to me what you do as these things are trying to climb all over you.
I think he's just like, once he like slices the leg and the thing kind of topples over and it's like a bridge, I think he's just parrying with these blades, keeping them at bay, more or less. All
right. You're kind of swinging your swords back and forth, giving Switch and Levi moments to do things. Let me describe the rest of the scene for you guys. So for Switch, what you see in front of you is this like gigantic 15-foot creature. Its 2 appendages, on the front, wildly swinging around. One of them is it's being used to balance it as it's one of its front legs has been removed. And so it's kind of, reeling back a little bit as it kind of rights itself and tries to figure it out. And you see 6 of these like tiny ones. They're like 3 feet tall. That's relatively, tiny, I guess, to this the 15-foot tall one. But they're like beginning to kind of scurry up and trying to attack at Fitzy. And he's able to kind of like defensively kind of, keep them back. But they're relentless. And you hear more scurrying coming from the tunnel.
Okay. Fitzy, I'm going to leave you the little ones that are already on you, and I'm going to launch a detonator into the tunnel to blow up the ones that are coming.
That's fair.
All right. This is definitely risky. Do you think this is desperate? What's the worst that could happen?
I think it is risky or maybe desperate. I'm up. Yeah. I mean, it could be desperate. I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, I'm in the hall. It sounds desperate to me as a guy who might die from this.
Sure. I like it. Let's call it desperate. The effects really is up to you, Switch, because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to prevent things from crashing, but you're accepting the fact that Fitzy is sort of in the way.
I'm trying to, I'm imagining Fitzy's here, right? And then the tunnel's here, and I'm here. So I'm gonna lob it over and into the tunnel. I'm gonna give him the old hook shot.
Okay, so great. So that sounds like I think that sounds like standard.
The old hook shot.
I mean, I don't know. Is it great effect to kill a lot of these things in the tunnel? I don't know.
It could be. It could be, but you're also taking a pretty sizable risk if you fail.
That is fair.
All right. Is that what you're looking for?
Risky great.
So I guess the great would be if you succeed, it blows up more of the tunnel and kills more of them. If you fail, it blows up more of the tunnel and lands on me.
Yeah.
Not just on you. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, don't fail spectacularly, please.
Push yourself or take a devil's bargain.
I like how that wasn't a question.
What's the bargain?
The foundation of the temple cracks.
Yeah, all right. I like it. Foundation of the temple cracks.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen?
All right.
That's the new episode title. That's next week's title.
All right, so that's one bonus die. Look, I haven't traumatized out yet, so I'll just push myself for another 2 stress. I got 2 left to give now.
You can't do that and take the devil's bargain.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, it's push or devil's bargain.
Damn it.
Push or devil.
You can spend one of our gambits.
I will do that.
Can.
I will do that.
When do you get a gambit? On a desperate roll, and you roll a 6?
On a risky roll.
On a risky roll.
On a risky roll and a success.
What happens on a desperate roll?
Risky 6s.
Risky 6s. Okay.
Desperate, you get experience.
So Loke rolled a crit on a risky.
He did. So that actually generated another gambit.
Okay, so we have 4.
However,
and then we spent 2.
However, Switch as a character can also take an ability that gives you gambits on desperate rolls.
I have not done that though.
I know you haven't.
I also attuned with a 6 on a risky, so we were at 5. We spent 2, so we're at 3.
Yep.
Cool.
Roll it.
4.
All right. So the detonator lands directly in the place that you expected it to, except that it keeps rolling a little bit, right? And there's like a delay. You were expecting it to go right off when it landed. It delays, and there's another 2 seconds. And so when it goes off, it lands a little bit farther and happens to hit essentially what is a part of the infrastructure of the temple itself. And when the explosion happens, 3 things occur. The first is you hear a loud, unbelievably obnoxious, like teeth sort of like you can feel it in your teeth, sort of cracking sound of stone as the entire area groans a little bit. The second thing is there is this blast that comes out of the tunnel and throws Fitzy back, which he's going to have to resist. It's going to blast you back. And either if you succeed, you're still able to keep up your defenses. If you cannot, you're going to have to roll an additional resistance roll to be able to fend off these new creatures, or you can attack them directly. These 6 that are on you. But the first thing you need to do is you need to resist. You either take the blowback, and what'd you get?
A 6.
All right. So
fucking god.
You're swinging back and forth your sword, and the flames just sort of blow, towards you, and you just like are able to hold your ground and at the same time continuing your defense, which blows these little suckers.
We're going full anime, Johnny. I put both of the swords with the way energy in front of me, and the blast just sort of goes around me. Yeah. I'm alcoholic Mace Windu in this bitch.
All right, so that occurs. The like 6 of them are kind of like struggling to kind of keep on you, but they're blown to the side and they begin to kind of move. The third thing that happens is another 4 are blown in your general direction as the scurrying happens, as you hear the tunnel collapsing, and that's when the 4 begin to kind of scramble and support the other 6 as the praying mantis beast just begins to kind of move back in and begins to advance forward, even though it's lost a leg. And we're going to cut to Levi. Levi, what are you doing in this situation?
Oh, you missed that I activated the temple, and all of the Fridays became one Friday.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Basically, since the temple is activated, I would like to hack to see if there's drones here that I can make another army with.
Fair. Oh, okay.
Fair.
Do it.
Okay.
I think that this is a risky situation. You're not directly in the action right now, but there are 10 of these little creatures and one of these big creatures like moving around.
Is Siri still on?
Siri is still in the process of activating.
Okay. And this is standard?
Yeah, we'll call it standard. Do you want to push yourself and take a devil's bargain?
Yeah. No, I didn't do well. There's no drones.
What'd you get?
That's a
131.
That's a crit fail.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Is that how that works? Isn't it 2 1s?
I don't think that's in the rules.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just a straight up failure.
Okay.
So you plug into a data port that you find on the dais, the sort of the visual display dais. And by the way, the crew that is hacking the glory, the door still looks like they're having a hard time with it, and you can see that the person that is actually working on the door is actually incredibly frustrated. But the other crew that has gone down there, you can't see what's going on yet, but you can see that there was blaster fire sort of coming out of the tunnel that they went into, which seems a little odd, except the fact that you remember that you've got the purge going on over there. As you're hacking into the temple sort of situation here, when you fail, the sort of the translation tool that you're using doesn't actually give you all the information that you're expecting right away, and so you start like trying to activate things based on what you previously understood the situation to be. When you do that, you hear groaning coming from the sides of the walls as panels begin to kind of move and open up. And that's as we kind of switch back to Fitzy. Fitzy, you are in the defensive situation right now, just kind of like swinging your swords back and forth. You are now fending off 10 of these suckers.
Cool. Well, I'm either going to trauma out or I'm going to attack them to death. So I'm going to do something. Well, first I'm going to verify something. So I have an ability that says you may push yourself to attune to the way, blah, 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 blah. You may spend 1 additional stress for each additional feature you have. And there's 2 additional features. I also have my starting ability, which is you can spend a gambit instead of paying any stress cost. So technically it'd be 2 stress to use the ability, and then 2 more to use both of the effects that it has for a total of 4 stress. But if I spend a gambit, that wipes that away. Is that how I'm understanding that? Because it's technically a stress cost for pushing myself and for activating both additional features.
Read me the ability again, please.
You may push yourself to attune to the way and twist it, causing psychic harm to anyone in the area vulnerable to your assault. You may spend 1 stress for each additional feature it damages instead of stuns, and you can choose people to get a resistance to the effect. So it would be, I guess it would be 3 stress to use.
No, I'm sorry, the one about the gambit again.
Oh, it just says you can spend a gambit instead of paying any stress cost.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
You're more than welcome to do it.
Cool. So you've
got 3 gambit left.
Yeah. So I'm going to activate my ability called the Sundering, which is the superhero punch, and I'm going to spend 1 stress to make it damage instead of just stun. And since no one's near me, I don't have to worry about protecting them. So yeah, I'm just going to blast these guys. I'm literally like, I literally take both the swords. I kind of like do some cool Deadpool shit and flip the blades down and just stab them into the ground, and it makes a wave of energy go out. So I guess I roll a tune for that.
Please do.
So what would that be?
I don't see how this is desperate right now.
Yeah.
Because you're holding them off and keeping your own. You're keeping yourself safe right now. So I think it's risky.
Okay.
What do you think about effect? It is 10 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's great because I would be damaging all 10 of them.
Okay.
But at the same time, like if it fails horribly, the shockwave could exacerbate the structural damage that switch just did.
Well, the bomb did.
However you want to paint that picture.
Let's be clear here. It wasn't technically switch.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Do you want to
spend a
push
gambit.
yourself or take a
I literally can't. I have two pips left in stress. No matter what I do, I'll trauma out.
Does anybody want to offer him support or like assistance?
I'll keep helping with the guns.
Don't you have like 1 trauma left or one stress left?
I have 3 stress after I help you.
Okay, so you're going to assist for 1 stress point, and I will take a bonus dice for that. Yeah, I'm not going to risk a devil's bargain on this one.
Okay.
Oh, fuck me running. That's 3 1s. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. There's 1 more dice I get to roll. I have a fine melee weapon. Oh, I guess it doesn't count because I'm not using my melee weapons.
Just roll it.
You think so? All right, let's see what happens.
Because you're using swords.
/D6. 3. So it's still an abject failure. Johnny, go nuts. How do I die?
Describe to me exactly what this looks like when this emanates from the position.
Yeah, so there's 9 of them surrounding me, and the big guy is like clawing his way forward and like swiping. And so I go from like a very defensive kind of stance, and I spin both of these blades so that the blades go down, and I just stab them into the ground, and the wave just sort of emanates. And has no effect on these guys, or something else.
Well, let me ask you this question: What color is the wave of energy that broadcasts out? All right. As it kind of does that, it pushes them all back, and a couple of them that are closest to you actually incinerate. So 3 are gone immediately.
Okay.
As they kind of are getting pushed back, they appear to be burned in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Something's really wrong. You notice immediately that something's wrong with the way that they're kind of like just, burning and what have you.
Cool.
And as that energy kind of like broadcasts out, it goes even farther out. And I'm going to require that Levi and Switch make a resistance roll or otherwise take level 2 harm for being burned.
Dope.
What kind of resistance?
It's resolve.
It's a physical thing, actually.
Oh, it's physical? Okay, cool.
So prowess.
So prowess.
It's prowess.
Okay.
I'm good at prowess rolls.
Yeah.
1.
3 and a 5.
So you take 1 stress.
No, he takes 5 stress.
Why?
It's 6 minus what you roll.
Minus highest.
Minus the highest dice. So he rolled a 5.
Yeah.
So 6,
he did?
6 minus
No.
5 is 1.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about Switch.
Also
I
rolled
rolled
a
a
5.
Oh, you did roll a 5. Okay,
2,
I'm sorry.
2, 5.
All right, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. All right, so both of you take 1 stress. As that sort of like, as it kind of passes over you, and you feel this intense burn. But as the burn kind of like passes over you and you just kind of like shake it off, each of you realize there's a couple of these little suckers like moving, like scrambling towards you. And at that moment, Siri activates.
Lasers.
Hello.
And she looks at you and was like, what the hell's going on? Switch, what are you doing here to defend
I'm
yourself?
blasting.
All right.
I'm coming out blasting.
I'm coming out blasting.
All right.
It's like a movie I once saw.
Yeah. On you are coming 4 of these things. They're just like, there's the beginning, they're scrambling up and kind of moving towards you. And they look a little bit singed. So they're not doing the best. They're moving a little bit slower. But they're coming at you for blood. You don't have swords to defend yourself. So
I just want to say, everyone
desperate.
Everyone out there who's watching, if you could take Danny DeVito and put him in Star-Lord's outfit and then just say, "I come out blasted," will someone draw that for me? Because that's what Switch looks like in my head. I just come out blasted.
So anyway, I came out blast. All right. So risky, I'm guessing, or desperate?
No, this feels desperate.
All right, I will desperately blast these.
He's blasting around, and all of a sudden he drops something on the ground. And he's like, "Oh, I lost my Magnum condom."
From my Magnum dong.
Oh God! Standard effect.
What is this show?
I don't know.
Standard
anymore.
effect, or
or great. I guess.
Sure. Well, standard or great. I mean, it really is. How much of a failure do you want to encounter if it goes badly?
big failure. So I'll go for.
All right, let's go great.
Go for broke. Anyone helping?
I don't think I can. I
Levi,
guess Levi can help if he's able to.
What am I doing?
Do you want to help him not get killed by monsters?
Help me blast them.
Help you blast them? Yeah, what am I doing right now? I had a failed hack. Yeah, I'll help. I'll put a stress there.
Sweet.
What is Levi gonna do to help?
Oh!
What'd you get?
2 sixes.
Double sixes.
I have Amanda in my hand. And I'm hacking, and I'm like, oh, keep blasting. You dropped something, and I keep shooting, and not looking, and just like shooting that general direction. And I'm like, I almost got it.
All right, Switch.
Right.
You got a crit. So narrate us through killing these 4 things. Include Levi's random blasting as a part of your narrative.
Yeah. So I think like Levi's random blasting like surprisingly hits one, and Switch is like, "Oh, holy shit!" and then just like pins the other three, and then we get like he does the cool like twirling of his laser pistols, and then puts them away, and it's like, all right, we took care of them, I think.
As you turn and see that there's 6 more and the 15-foot one just fucking off in the corner.
There's not 6 more. There are 3 more angling their way towards Levi. As Levi's helping you, he's just like
attacking. I thought they were attacking Fitzy. Never mind.
Oh no. Fitzy took care of the ones that were on him and blasted the rest away. 3 of them are making their way towards Levi as Levi's helping you, and roaring in the background is this big, ugly 15-foot piece who's missing a leg.
Oh, yeah.
And is making her way towards Fitzy. We're gonna flip to Levi. Levi, as you're blasting, you're trying to hack. You're like you hear Switch just like celebrate success. And you kind of look back, and then you realize that 3 of them are scurrying towards you. What are you going to do?
Sorry.
At this point, let me see what skills I have.
Hack hard with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Rig up something like something vaguely sexual to cause problems.
Yep.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hack, because that's what Levi knows what to do. And I'm going to hack, still like put myself into the system, and then look for a way to make a mini energy shield to be like boom, around me. Because I've seen it in the other temple.
Okay. All right. They're scrambling. This is definitely desperate. You are not directly attacking them or defending yourself, so you are definitely taking a desperate thing. The effect, I think, is standard unless you can argue for anything else, whether it's limited or great.
Let's do standard. I'll push myself, but I'll use my special armor.
Okay.
So I don't take the negative effects.
You don't take the negative effects, but you do take 1 stress. It was 2 stress.
Isn't that the negative effect?
No, his armor his ability lets him use his armor instead of taking stress. That one time.
No, he can avoid the negative effects that come from the
hold
roll.
on. You may expend your special armor to resist consequences of hacking or to push yourself when hacking and gathering info electronically.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can push yourself and avoid the stress. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
All right.
Okay, let's do it.
6.
All right. So all around you, as I described before, from your failed hack, you activated something, you didn't realize what was going on. Panels are sliding back all around the temple. As you can see that there are 4 of these figures that are emerging. They're 15 feet tall. And at the moment that you execute the hack to defend yourself, you see all of their hands kind of like point out like this in your direction, and out emanates this energy that just envelops you and Siri in a shield, as these 3 little things just kind of like come up and like land on the shield and like get disintegrate like on impact on the shield. And you're just kind of looking around going, okay. As the energy just continues to pulsate towards you.
Oh, it's like closing in on me, or?
No. It's pulsing around you, but it's like encompassing you in like this little like bubble where the other 3 things just sort of like came out and just kind of did their thing.
I am copying the schematics of this force field to my tablet.
All right. So as Levi begins to just like duplicate data here, you hear a gigantic roar as this 15-foot tall thing finally gets itself sorted on its 3 legs and comes swiping at Fitzy, swinging 2 arms at it. You are going to take level 2 harm unless you resist this.
Well, Johnny,
because you were going to get the wind knocked out of, actually level 1 harm. you're gonna get the wind knocked out of you.
I crit success.
Jesus Christ!
So I clear one stress. And that guy can
What is
suck it.
up with these rolls tonight?
Before I
Jesus.
saw that roll,
Fuck you, praying mantis.
All right, Levi, describe to me what you do that is so beautiful and it's like sword dancing anime. I'm sorry.
Don't confuse.
Fitzy.
Just because we're both Irish and have substance abuse.
Levi's just sitting in the force field smoking a cigarette, and he's
and he avoids all the damage. It's great. Yeah. It's so weird that he avoids it all by being 20 feet away.
So this thing is like swinging its arms around. Describe to us the beautiful sword dance that you do to not only avoid stress, but like recover some momentum, and then putting yourself in position to attack.
I like blasted the ground, blue fire or purple fire just kind of erupts everywhere, and then I jump back as these things are clawing me, and we're just going full on anime mode right now. That's what's happening, and like it's clawing, and I'm like dodging between that one, and it claws the other one, and I dodge, and I'm just going closer and closer to it. And then since it's technically my turn next, I'm dodging in and further towards this thing, and then I just swing out with my swords and attack this guy. Is this risky? I'm almost dead.
Yes, it is not desperate. It is risky because this thing has vulnerable now because it put your attack sort of dance or your defensive dance puts you in a primed position for this thing.
I assume it's standard.
Describe to me the type of attack that you're going in on this thing.
I'm going for its undercarriage.
Yeah, let's call it standard.
Yeah. And then one bonus dice for fine weapons.
As a PSA, okay. Be careful of swords in your undercarriage.
Yeah, you don't want those. A 6. How does a 6 work in this situation?
Fine weapons are supposed to increase effect, not give you bonus dice.
Either way, it's still a 6. So the effect would go from standard to great.
I forgot about that for my pistols, in fact. It's okay, though.
All right. So with that effect, I would have... So you just cleared the clock on this thing's defenses.
Yeah, suck it.
And so as you come in, you kind of swipe under this thing, getting it in the right place, and you split open its, body.
Yeah.
And its guts are beginning to kind of, be exposed. And then you take your two swords and you shove it right into what you think is the heart. And this thing screams in absolute pain and horror, and then just begins to sort of collapse. And it's starting to collapse on top of you.
That's fine. I think that's exactly what happens too. It's like he dodges in and then takes both blades and just runs it down the middle. Because I assume this thing's at least 5 or 6 feet off the ground, right? And it's that gross scene where it opens up and just internal fluids just spill out onto Fitzy, and then it collapses. And then there's that tense pause of 10 seconds where everyone's like, I think he's dead. And then I just out of the back of the thing with the swords up. For fuck's sake! That was so gross! Usually I punch them through the heart. I've never been through the entire thing. My whole body. Oh, that shit was awful. Awful.
I'm pretty clean over here.
It smells so bad in there.
Oh yeah, you smell terrible.
I know. Okay. I was in it.
Actually, the smell's not coming through here, so I feel fine.
It's like a scented shield.
It's lavender.
Spearmint shields.
I feel really relaxed in here. I
think he just is exasperated. Friday, are we fucking done?
A rumble goes through the entire temple as various pieces of the temple begin to kind of shake and kind of rumble, and debris starts to fall a little bit as you hear a voice coming from the dais. It vaguely sounds like Friday. As the three of you kind of look back, you see that Friday's shape is beginning to shift, and he's growing taller. And as he's growing taller, he's beginning to lift off the ground in this sort of display. And as it begins to, kind of form, and reshape itself into something that looks like a sort of a floating figure of some kind, there's angular points to him. His head now has a point to it. And his legs are they're pointed out, but they look like they've got like 3 different like toe-like appendages, but they're not really toes. They're just sort of sticking there. And his voice says, "Yes, we're done. I am free of you, and you are free of me."
You got a mighty ominous tone in your voice.
Your journey isn't over yet.
I don't know what that means.
He shifts and collapses for a second as something else begins to display on the sort of the dais display. And on it, you see a familiar sort of star system. And this familiar star system is the same star system that you saw that was displayed from the cube.
Mm.
And what you see is the following. It is a star system of a couple of planets with a weird sort of configuration of suns. There are 3 suns.
Tattooing.
And they
That's
orbit.
2.
Actually, it's 2. They orbit a planet at the center of this solar system, this planetary system. And they orbit and they move at different speeds. One is gigantic, one is small, and one is about medium-sized. And you see that these 3 things are kind of floating around. And there are what appears to be, celestial bodies just kind of moving, like asteroids or whatever, like moving in the general direction. And as they move towards, you can see that they kind of like get, buffed away by the gravity of the suns, like they're actually repelled or pushed. But you see, as you're kind of looking this, you begin to see like the image of this newly transformed Friday's face kind of look through, the star system. And he says, "To complete your journey, to finally purge me, you must go here."
How the fuck?
You will be reborn, and your sword will be returned to you.
Fucking hell. I thought we were done. Everyone else, you can hear this, right?
Oh, I am definitely done. I'm done with this ghost quest.
Is there an Earthship
That
here?
was the agreement.
Switch, it's an unexplored system.
Yeah, I was gonna sell the information. It's worth a lot of money.
What if you go to the system and you could be king of the entire system?
Now that is an interesting proposition.
You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow.
Actually, you got a pretty good point. Actually, right there it's a new system. If I take control of the gate, it's a small window. You don't need that many guns to take over a gate. That's historically proven to be accurate.
That's right.
There's like a lot of times when somebody, you just got to take the gate and you basically control.
That's it.
Okay, we're taking the system. This is going to be our system.
Friday.
We're taking the system.
Mm.
Friday. Friday?
Does it have a name?
Hello.
I think I'm going to give it a name. We're going to name it.
The system or Friday? I think it's named
The
Friday.
system.
No, the 3 balls of glory.
Okay. The 3 balls of glory. That's good. Those are the
It's
stars.
the jump gate is the glory hole. That's what we rename it.
I'm voting for the Rackham system personally. I think it's a good name. I haven't really gained anything. Everyone else is getting stuff out of these random hijinks. I think I deserve to have this system.
I'm real glad that we've made it this far as a loose team, but I would like to remind everyone that remember that time that we were in the Praxium Institute and we stole the cube, and I spent all that time trying to translate what the cube. Yeah, that one. I spent all that time trying to translate what the cube did, and I found out that the cube was a map to the jump gate.
Yeah,
and I said,
that was clear.
Oh, wait. No. I hacked the cube and found that information.
And that's how I got Friday in my head, was because I brain hacked it. Regardless,
Well,
remember the
that's
time
stupid.
that I found that the jump gate was there, and I said, we should go to this jump gate and steal the entire system, and you said, no, that's stupid. Well, here we are now, Switch, and we're stealing the jump gate.
I said
How
that.
are you the captain?
No, hold on now. I said that before because we didn't know where it led. It was a mystery box.
I had the map. The map is in the cube.
No, we only had a map of the system. We didn't have a map to the gate.
No, I had the map to the gate in my head.
But there was a lot going on in your head, and it was really hard to take.
We had to get
seriously.
paid first. That was
Very true.
No, that was the plan. You hold on. Now you're trying to accuse me of things. That wasn't the plan because Levi downloaded the data from the box. We were going to hand over the box, get paid, and then go to the new system. That was the whole thing.
But we never went. We just kept doing more of your jobs over and over again.
No,
We still have the box.
we literally did one job. We literally only did the one job.
And then we had to break the guy out of prison.
In
and then
order
we-
to.
Well, was it really prison? I mean, they were having parties and drinks.
All right,
And
you know what? It doesn't matter. We're
I
gonna
need
have
a
our
shower.
own system. We're gonna have our own system now.
Fine.
It's gonna be the Rackham system. I'm gonna set up. We'll have casinos.
I'm making a temple on every planet.
Oh, okay. What you? How are we
Well,
gonna make money with
I don't-
that?
I have a question. I have a question for Friday. Friday, is there an Earth ship that we can take and make it a new ship?
I don't want a new ship. I have a ship.
Well, the Vigneron, they like to take things apart and they like to put it in themselves. And there was a lot more of them than there were of us, so there's a 50-50 shot you don't have a ship.
I hate you.
That's not my fault. I didn't bring the Vigneron here.
You brought us here.
Well, you agreed to it.
So as the two of you or the three of you are arguing, and Levi's question reaches Friday, Friday's head just sort of like begins to rise up, and he looks down as the system begins to disappear, and the display comes back, and you see the setting of the previous location where the glory is, and there was the various groups that were attacking. It appears that on the screen, inside of the shield, sort of like generated by these four like golem-like figures, these automations, the drones are now beginning to pick off one at a time the various individuals that were trying to attack the glory. You can see a smoking sort of like billow of like smoke coming out of the area where the tunnel went down into the sort of the lower part, and you can see that there was a figure sort of dead on the steps there. As these drones begin to kind of like snake out, and they're doing their thing, basically equating to a purge. So Friday then says, it appears that your ship is still available to you for this particular time. However, I don't think, and then the display sort of like comes back to the planet, and the planet grows smaller as you see a series of ships that are beginning to kind of come in out of hyperspace. And this is something that doesn't actually happen all that often. Hegemony ships are beginning to appear around Aketi. I think this is actually a much larger problem.
Oh! That's not great.
Where's the gate? Where's this new jump gate?
And at that, a news alert comes across Levi's display.
Oh, hello.
Mysterious deactivated jump gate in the Holt system is beginning to activate. Signs appear to be that it will become active within, a standard week. No idea as to why it actually is activating.
We got to be
That's
the
where we're
first
gonna end
ones
it.
there.
Well, we need an Earth ship that's fast.
Fades out.
And that's where we're going to end it.
That was a good one. I am gross. So that was...
You got bug guts on you.
Yeah, I have the internal organs of a bug all up in my business. That was episode 14, Glory to the Whole. And I think that was an appropriate name by the end of the episode. So this has been episode 14. We'll be off next week. We'll be on the 30th. Which will be the final episode 15, the final episode of this show. And then that'll be the final episode of the season for unMadeGaming, and we'll see you guys in the new year with a whole slew of new games. So stay tuned on Twitter, on Discord, on everywhere for the announcements for those games. That being said, let's go around, introduce our cast and crew, and get the hell out of here. We'll start with, we'll change it up for now. We'll start with Johnny. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
God damn it. Why do you have to start? All right. I'm Johnny, Video Store Cowboy everywhere. I am currently at the end of traveling. Saw some of you at PAX last week. We'll be back in the real world doing real things again. And then I will see you guys all in the new year with a new show with the same cast, if I remember correctly. Is that correct?
Possibly. It's at least 2/3 of the same, or 3/4 of the same cast. That being said, we'll jump over to someone who is returning for this cast. Sam, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And where? What are you doing?
I am Sam. I am at twitch.tv/wizandfool or Twitter at @thewizandfool. I will be on a game of Mothership on Sunday. I had my first one yesterday. I am playing a robot, and I'm doing robot things. So yeah, we're having fun. It's a very different vibe from this show because it's all spooky and scary and shit. And it's on twitch.tv/outro0.
Ooh.
Is it
Outro
literally
1.
Dead Space?
The game Mothership is like, it's like Alien Dead Spacey. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's fun. It's good. It's simple. It's easy. And it was a good time last night. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Let's jump over to, last but not least, Joe, McLoken. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
You can find me on Twitter at McLoken. Tomorrow I'm going to be on Cobalt Press for World Tree Burns. Other than that, I won't be on the Wednesday show. I don't think I can make it work, depending. So we'll see. But other than that, I'm made of Play-Doh.
And if you want to see
Why
the
Play-Doh?
other, I don't know.
Everyone gave up on me a long time ago.
Are you malleable?
He
Am
is.
I malleable?
He is.
Yes.
I'm hard Play-Doh.
If you heat him up, he's real moldable. That being said, if you guys want to support the channel, please go check us out on Patreon. If you missed the show, find us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun shit. And if you want to join the conversation, please check us out on Discord. But for now, that is all from us. So we will see you tomorrow or a few weeks from now. And yeah, bye-bye.